is often said that there are few more easily offended than those who complain about other people being easily offended. And it's often said because it's true, to the point of damn near self-parody. Take, for example, Five Nights at Freddy's fans, or at least people who decided they were Five Nights at Freddy's fans the moment it turned out its creator was a little bit right-wing. These are the people who will tell you it's just an opinion, get over it, stop being so triggered, snowflake. Well, you dare share an opinion of your own and it doesn't gel with theirs. And well, let's just say that this week a lot of masks popped off of a lot of hideous faces. Ever since he was criticised for donating to anti-LGBTQ+ politicians, including the likes of Mitch McConnell, Scott Cawthon has found no shortage of defenders among the so-called hardcore gaming community. In fact, some tie Cawthon's funding of bigotry so intrinsically to the gamer identity that when I published my own video criticising Cawthon, a common response from his defence force was that I, and I quote, attacked gamers. Considering the video's actual content attacked homophobic and transphobic policies, it does seem a little like the gamers TM are telling on themselves with that one. Huh. Anyway, while I might be hated by gamers, I am nowhere near despised to the same degree Kotaku is, a website that manages to make angry little gamer kids cry with the slightest, most innocuous of coverage. Something about heads and living in them rent-free. In fact, I mentioned the phenomenon of Kotaku outrage in a recent video, and this past week, as Cawthon's malingering simps buzzed like the drones they are, my theory that Kotaku triggers hilarious rage over absolutely nothing was further confirmed. Basically, there's a new Five Nights at Freddy's game not spearheaded by a man who'd rather quit game development than stop funding politicians that pander to hate groups, and Kotaku's reporting of it made people mad. Again. LOL. The Kotaku report on this new game said, wow, turns out these games look way better when not made by some weird Christian dude. That's it. Bit cheeky. But pretty innocuous and honestly kind, considering the spiteful and bigoted politics Cawthon regularly donates large sums of money to. But Kotaku gonna Kotaku, and it didn't take much to whip hardcore gamer Twitter into a wild frenzy. Writer Eric Kane kicked off proceedings, responding to the statement with, "This is a very childish take, Kotaku." Personally, I disagreed. I publicly disagreed, and in doing so, I made things kinda worse. Well, at least for myself. The response I received from Scott Cawthon's fan base, or at least bigots pretending they like him and his not very good games, pretty much confirmed what anyone with a brain cell knew. Cawthon's Christian fundamentalism and support of prejudice has attracted the absolute worst scumbags who paint a grim but telling picture of the kind of person who thinks Kotaku being a bit childish is worse than donating to treasonous Republicans who have become more and more influenced by the policies of QAnon. So, like with Kotaku's article, I'd say my response was pretty harmless and very restrained. Responding to the charge of childishness, I replied with, nah, Cawthon is a Christian fundamentalist who donated to right-wing anti-LGBTQ+ politicians. He is weird, and he is Christian, not really childish to tell the truth. Of course, many people have conflated my saying weird and Christian as if I was saying both of those are intrinsically linked, but no, I was just laying out the facts. Anyway, it didn't take long whatsoever for the hate to come pouring in. Brace yourself and enjoy the majority attitude that my take was inundated with. How's your YouTube numbers, dude? Oh, sorry, did I misgendered you? Well, I don't fucking care. How's your wife's boyfriend? Well, my YouTube numbers suck since I came out as trans. Yes, you did misgender me. My wife's boyfriend is doing pretty well last I heard, and I haven't stopped laughing at your I don't fucking care, as if misgendering a trans person is some badass act of rebellion by a renegade who plays by no rules. Ooh, you're fucking fearless, mate. Misgendering someone on the internet? Not only original, but so fucking sexy. Nothing says I'm not weird by pretending to be woman. No wonder your wife left you, Jim. Some comments seem wildly obsessed with my ex-wife, who I split with in 2018 and have since been happy in a completely different relationship, but go off, I guess? Anyway, the transphobic responses in defense of a transphobia supporter continued. Please shut up, trans trender, says the person who turned NB for clout. A white man using the name Stephanie is calling a man weird for having religious beliefs. Twitter is full of people being LGBTQ when they sure as hell actually aren't, and are just following a trend because for some damn reason that shit trended. Imagine being so mentally deranged you think Jim Sterling is pretty. This one just says fat. Naturally, these Scotty simps believe they have stumbled upon the ultimate insult, calling me he or a man, as if trans people don't put up with that tired old shit every single day. Perhaps one day transphobes will realise they only have one joke and they tell it to the point where it's too common and too unoriginal to be offensive, but probably not. They're fucking idiots. It never ceases to amaze me also how many people think you turn trans for the good of your career, as if committing to taking hormones twice daily, coming out as a member of one of the world's most marginalised groups, and transitioning publicly to the scrutiny and mockery of the internet is a bit. Something you casually decide to do. Besides which, given the subscriber bleed that so many of these people are delighting in, that'd be a hell of an own goal. One really recurring response has been to post photographs of me since my transition and using that to demonstrate I am weirder than Scott Cawthon, that it's the pot calling the kettle black, as so many of them like to say. This has naturally inspired plenty of that laughter and that mockery in its own right, as those going to bat for Cawthon have pretty much taken their masks off and exposed the whole thing as less a love for the man and more a hatred of queer people, which, you know, fill your boots, I suppose. But hey, you're not doing Cawthon or the gaming community any favours. You're just making you and your peers look like dickheads. On the subject of people taking their masks off, I also absolutely adore the repeated posting of this picture of Commander Sterling, my wrestling character, in response to a frankly bizarre controversy. First of all, the picture they're all posting, which happens to be my current profile pic, is fucking hot. Secondly, it's my wrestling gimmick, and if you think having a wrestling persona is actually comparable to donating money to Mitch McFucking-Connell, I really don't know what to say to you. Yes, I wear a vinyl star on my face, a pink moto jacket, a cocktail dress, literally it's got little glasses on it, and take photos where I show off my estrogen-filled trans-as-fuck titties. When I'm not rocking dresses to the ring, I wear a full-body silver jumpsuit that's definitely not normal. I chokeslam people as a matter of routine.
Come on.
Oh, Commander Sterling. Oh, come on now.
You can call that weird if you like, but to say it's at all comparable to giving money to Republican politicians who draft and support bills that oppose gay marriage and trans people's rights to live hassle-free lives is blatantly fucking ridiculous. Frankly, I've never denied I was weird. It's a fact. Just the other week, I appeared in a video speaking through a bright pink ball gag because I took offence to being called normal. It doesn't make me a hypocrite for agreeing with Kotaku that Scott Cawthon, whose career I thanklessly helped launch, is weird. He made Chipper & Sons Lumber Company and thought it was cute. That's weird. Ultimately, the best most people can come up with is what essentially boils down to, I know you are, but what am I? A response that is, fittingly for this subject, one of the most childish playground replies possible. That's just the stuff that's on Twitter, let alone elsewhere, and that's been pretty much my week. Transphobia in defense of a man they claim is not transphobic. Like, they somehow know it's bad enough to defend against accusations of, but good enough for them to regurgitate in response. Once again, they really can't help betraying their own motives. That's not the best flavour of irony, however. No, the best example isn't even born out of prejudice, but out of a complete lack of self-awareness. Ever since Cawthon's donations were first criticised, the most popular response from his stands has been to say it's just his opinion. That's all. Just an opinion, and opinions are completely harmless, something everybody has a right to. After all, as one not at all dramatic response claimed, you guys are the reason why society will collapse in on itself because of childish fighting for having different opinions. Okay. If that's so true though, why are all these people so fucking mad over my opinion? Why are they crying so hard? Why are they so unable to find the words for their frothing hatred that their replies are borderline incomprehensible at times? Why is it okay to have an opinion if that opinion is queerphobic, but not okay when it's in defense of queer people? I think we all know the answer to that one, but to lay it out plain, there is a collective of hardcore gamers out there who will simp for absolutely anything, provided it's the scummiest thing imaginable. You can't be so angry, so full of hatred over somebody's opinion, and then go on to say opinions shouldn't be criticised. It's an argument that simply doesn't make sense. If opinions aren't to be attacked, then you should, quite logically, stop attacking opinions. But these good defenders of an honest Christian boy just don't seem to get that. Or rather, they don't care. They just want to go to bat for anything that harms LGBTQ+ people, who they've made quite clear with their multiple hate campaigns over the years they want out of gaming entirely. There is no doubt this video will cost me several thousand more subscribers as I continue to lose the larger gamer audience and people who would rather listen to right-wing grifters than a queer person talking about policies and politics that affect queer people. But if doing so continues to bleed subs, so be it. The Jimquisition has always been written to state my views and damn the consequences, and while those consequences have been felt all this year, you know, fuck 'em. If you don't like James Stephanie Sterling, you're weird, mate. If my sub count was more important to me than sharing my actual opinions, I wouldn't keep flicking matches at the gas-soaked thing. And that is all from me, James Stephanie Sterling. Cringe, weird, and here to be thanked God for. Thank God for me. Kind of ironic when you consider the Christian angle. Well, 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 it seems that somebody at Wrestler's Lab has finally seen sense and extended an invitation to the super heavyweight supervillain, the poly-antagonist, the pan-galactic princess of pansexual pandemonium, Commander Sterling. Yes, oh my, yes. What a time we're going to have on January 15th at Ridgefield Park, New Jersey, at Wrestlers Lab's next big show, Chemical MV. The great experiment is introduced to the greatest variable. And just what will wrestling's greatest manager, ring announcer, commentator, and choke slammer do on January 15th? Well, that remains to be seen. You can be sure of one thing. Commander Sterling has plans. They always have plans. And the only thing you need to concern your pretty little heads with is the knowledge that Wrestler's Lab is about to become simply Sterling.